Hey, what's up, traders? So this week marks our first week of the month for April, and we're gonna start off the week by looking at our technicals and what would be the potential scenarios for the coming week, and at the same time looking at the fundamentals, most especially for NFP and PMIs, and basically we're expecting, like for example, for this NFP. If we're gonna consider the previous numbers, which is 151K, and we're forecasting a lower than the previous, which is 128K, that actually is a negative print for the dollar. So if the negative print comes out this coming Friday, this would bring the dollar for a much downside move. But if we would be able to get a positive print versus the forecast, what I can see is probably this would boost the dollar a bit, but um, it's still lower than the preview. So if we really want the dollar to have a kick, for it to have a momentum, as much as possible, we would like to see a positive, a much more higher NFP versus the previous. And another thing is the unemployment rate that is being forecasted for the month of March is higher than the previous, which is not good. And if we're gonna look at the technicals, we're gonna look at the dollar index. As you can see, we already have broken down the support. Actually, it's not yet broken down since it's just being tested at this point. So another thing, a confirmed breakdown for this is if we close below this support level. And ultimately, if we get to test this level, we might see price going under until the 103.373. So another thing is if you're gonna look at the highs, looking at the highs here, here, and this high, it seems that the price wasn't able, or the dollar wasn't able to get another pump just to test this level. And after that, dollar broke down below this level. This, based on the technicals, is not looking good for the dollar since what we're looking at with the dollar, if we're looking for a more bullish side, this must create a bullish sequence, meaning there are higher highs and higher lows. But in this case, dollar was unable to um, even test this level, this resistance level, and just went down, breaking our low at 104,070. And right now, we are already down with our moving averages. Though some of you would see this as a head and shoulders pattern, what I'm seeing with this is more than just the head and shoulders pattern. What I see is, yes, we could say it that way. We could name it as an head and shoulders. But what I'm seeing here on an institutional perspective is if dollar is actually gaining momentum, it should, of course, break this high. But after testing our fair value gap or imbalance in this level, so for those who don't know, the fair value gap is, it's a three candle pattern. So apologies for my drawing, but this is how it looks like. So it composes of three candle pattern, and usually if price haven't traded yet on the middle candle, usually it leaves a pocket of liquidity from the high of the first candle until the low of the third candle. And if we're gonna look at the bearish fair value gap, also three candle pattern. if it leaves a gap, meaning doesn't need to price to jump from this space. It doesn't need to do it that way. But if price wasn't able to get the other liquidity in this level by not trading at it and through it, probably we're seeing a more bearish downside on the dollar. So that's how the fair value gap works. You could see there's a gap on that thing. So you could trade that, and if price reacts on that level, we're gonna see more downside for the dollar. So in this case, um, dollar went at the fair value gap, went to the upside, but failed to break out of this level, and at the same time failed to break through of this previous fair value gap. So actually, if we're gonna look at it, this is a sign of weakness, meaning orders have been filled on this level, and we might see further downside as forecasted last week with dollar. Another thing that we would expect for the actually assume or anticipate with the dollar is the volatility of what's happening in the U.S. market, most especially Trump's um, with Trump's policies. It's so volatile that people are even surprised of what's happening in the market. So if I'm gonna invest, of course, I don't want my money to be in a volatile situation. So as much as possible, I'd like of course, my investment to be safe, and at the same time, it's going on a certain direction. So with regards to dollar, if we're gonna look at the technicals, it's not looking good, and at the same time, we're not seeing. We might expect a negative print for the NFP and the PMIs. So we don't know, but these are just uh, something that we have to be prepared for, and this is just a forecast of what's coming for the dollar. So what I suggest for the dollar is um, wait first for a confirmed breakdown of this level of 103.759, and probably we might rebound on this level. This is also a fair value gap. So there are resting orders on that level, and just mark the 104.203 and 104.137 level. So we might see a reaction on that level. So a bearish reaction would be price must not trade through it, meaning break out of this fair value gap. But just what we want to happen on this level is if price rebounds on that level, it must resist with a strong push. Not just it must not trade on that level for a long period of time. So we just want a reaction on that level. So that's it for the dollar, and in summary, how I'm seeing dollar right now, it's bearish. So that's what I'm seeing with the dollar. If you're gonna compare all the candles, it's obvious that despite the dollar creating a rebound to the upside, it doesn't have enough steam for it to go to the upside and to be sustained. Just look at the bearish candles, and it's too big. It keeps engulfing the previous bullish rebound. So that's it for the dollar. And with regards to the other pairs, before that, I forgot, we need to also check out the volatility index. So currently, if you're gonna see the volatility index, we're spiking again at 22.90. So how are we going to use the volatility index? This helps us to know the risk in the markets, because if we're above again at 20 levels, this is what we can say that the market is again on a risk of sentiment. So if the market is on a risk of sentiment, the natural response or the appropriate response that we should do in the market is, most especially in the US market, is we're gonna look at a more bearish stance versus being bullish. So probably the investors or the consumers or the market participants are fearful in the US market right now. So we cannot discount of the previous candles that the volatility index created. So this is not looking good for us, actually, for the US market. So if the VIX breaks out again at 26.27 level, this might create a more downside for the other pairs. I mean, for the US market, most especially in the US indices. So, if we're gonna look at gold, so gold is spiking high again, just like what we have forecasted for the last few weeks. And this is something that is already been we're already being anticipating this move since the dollar is weakening. It's not gaining traction. At the same time, the volatility index is spiking up again, meaning the fear levels are on the rise. So if there's fear, of course, where do investors flock? Of course, on safe assets like gold. So this is a safe haven asset. So if you're trading gold, this is a good, um, I don't want to say good news, but this is an opportunity for us to go on a bullish continuation. So since we're on gold, what we could expect for gold is, if you're gonna see this price movement, it tried to pull back on that level, but since with everything that's happening in the West, with everything that's happening in the wars, we've already been anticipating gold to, of course, create another momentum to the upside. And currently, actually last week, to since March 13, sorry, so like 2 to 3 weeks ago, we already broke out of this resistance, reaching out the 3,000 levels, and currently we are now on another all-time high levels. So potential scenarios for gold is, first, what I do is mark out the fair value gaps, potential liquidity pockets where price could trade to, could draw to get more liquidity for it to go to the upside. So right now, we have this fair value gap on this level, and this also makes sense for price to retrace on this level or pull back on this level, since we have, of course, there are a lot of people who are profit taking on this level, and at the same time, this is a good level for us to go long, since we have three confluences to support our idea for the upside. First is we have a bullish fair value gap on this level. Second is this is the previous resistance that is now turning as a support for gold. And we also have a moving averages that could potentially be a support level, another support level for gold. And if we're going to add more confluence with that, we can use the fundamentals. we can use the NFP and the PMIs. So if the US market will not give us any traction, of course, gold is paired with USD or dollar. If the dollar gets a weak or negative print this week, if the dollar is weak, then of course the the appropriate response of gold or the natural response of gold is to go to the upside. So that's our bullish scenario for gold. And of course, we need to map out of also the bearish scenario. If price or gold trades below the bullish fair value gap, you might see a test on the 3,000 level again. And we don't know what will happen next. But gold is currently, not just currently, but for the past few weeks has been benefiting from uncertainties, especially with what's happening in the European side, with the wars with Ukraine and some delays on the support of the European powers to Ukraine. So that creates uncertainty in the markets. So if there's uncertainty, of course, gold would appreciate as people would flock on this safe haven asset. So that's it for gold. And actually, if we're gonna observe the previous movement of gold prior to it breaking all-time high levels, if you're gonna look at this level, there is also a fair value gap that was created prior to its bullish momentum. And previously, this is also a range or a previous resistance turn support. Let me just create the range. If you're gonna go down to the lower time frames like the 4-hour, we have a range, previous range in this level before it broke out the 3,000 level, and this acted as a support. At the same time, we also have MAs or the MA50 that acts as our short-term support. Actually, not short-term, but I see MA50 as an intermediate support because the long-term support of MAs that I refer to is the MA100, MA200. But since I am a not really fast, but how I approach the market is a much more of a short-term trader or trading. So it makes sense that price support got a lift on this level because first we have an MA20, we have a fair value gap, we also have a previous resistance, turn support, just to what do you call this? Just to lessen the words on the previous resistance or turn support, we could actually use the term role reversal. So role reversal means is previously the role of this level is to resist. This one. The role of that level is to resist, but since price already invalidated the resistance, the role has been reversed, and we could call this a bullish reverse, not bullish reversal, but instead of price resisting at this level, is now being supported after it went back on that level. So that's what we can call a role reversal. So that's it for gold. We might see a push until the 3,100 level. So we don't know if it could reach the 3,200 level this week, but 3,100 is a much more feasible level for us to set our targets. So this is still tradable until the 3,100 level. But as for me, I'd like to wait for a pullback on this bullish fair value gaps. So too much drawing. So that's it for gold. And let's go on the Australian side on what's happening with Australia. So currently, the Australian dollar is not gaining yet any traction, but I'm not saying that we are also on a bearish side with Australia, since after breaking out of this level, after shifting from a trend. So sorry, just pulled up the chart for Australian dollar, and currently the Australian dollar is not yet on a confirmed bearish side, since after shifting from the downside, from a downtrend, and now we are on a sideways motion, but above the previous boxes or the previous resistance. What we could expect or look at with Australian dollar is, if we really want to have a bullish stance with Australian dollar, we'd like to see a breakout or a test on the 63 120 level, so this previous highs, and potentially we could see strength for the Australian dollar. So the reason again for the Australian dollar um, not gaining any traction yet, probably there's an impact of the impending tariffs that will commence tomorrow. So that would be hard, of course, for uh, the other powers that the US is currently connected with, of course. So right now, what we are seeing with the Australian dollar is it's currently testing the support level of this range. So our scenarios for Australian dollar is, if price breaks out of the 63 120 level and gets supported by it, we might see a push until this resistance level at the 63 level. So the bearish side, of course, scenario for the Australian dollar is, first, we need to have dollar needs to create traction on the upside. Second is test this low. The low is at 62,492 level. So if price tests that level and breaks down from that level, we could see a further downside with the Australian dollar. So that's it for the Australian dollar. So what I suggest in trading this pair is wait for a confirmed breakout of the range. As mentioned before, we don't want to participate in a market that is on a sideways motion. As much as possible, we want to participate in a market that there is already a confirmed direction. So that's it for the Australian dollar. So let's look at the Kiwi, New Zealand dollar. And currently, what we're seeing with NZD, it already broke down the range. So potential trades for this one are, we'd like price to pull back. Let's look for potential areas for short on this level. You could mark out the 57,207 level to 57,168 level. So that is our bearish fair value gap. And this is also, if we're gonna reference the current price movement right now, This is also a premium level where we could do short in favor of the US dollar. But of course, if we're saying earlier that the dollar is on a bearish bearish side, of course we don't want to trade in favor of the dollar because if we're gonna short, we don't want to trade in favor of the dollar because it's getting weak based on the DXY or the USDX, another name for the US dollar index. So for me, I don't want to short this level actually. I'd like to see um, a much of a bullish side on the New Zealand dollar. But comparing the Australian and the New Zealand dollar, it's more feasible to trade the Australian dollar to the upside versus the New Zealand dollar. If we're gonna compare it using the AUD NZD pair, the Australian dollar is gaining traction over NZD. So right now, if we're gonna use again the um, the triad filtration, I'm not sure if I've shared it before. How can we gauge trading one pair over another? So again, for the sake of those who are new in this video, how can we gauge two correlated pairs? Let's say, for example, you just want to trade one pair over the other, but the dilemma on that idea is who will be having um, enough momentum to go on a certain direction. So the key is if you're gonna pick one pair over the other, first you need to assess or check what the third currency is doing or the USD because those two pairs are paired with USD. So the first thing that you need to assess is what is USD doing currently. So if the narrative is USD is we're expecting USD to go to a much more downside move because of what's happening in the technicals and the fundamentals. Of course, the the outcome or the appropriate response for us to approach AUD and NZD is to go long. Now, the second question is, what pair should I trade? So another question with that is, what currency is currently gaining traction based on the technicals? So if you're gonna look at the AUD NZD, it's clear that AUD NZD is on an upside move right now. So if we're gonna long, the better trade here is AUD since we're gaining traction with AUD NZD. So for me, if I'm gonna trade the Australian side, of course, I'll be choosing the AUD USD. And it is clear that AUD USD is still not yet on a bearish side unless we break down from this level. So that's it for AUD. And let's go to the European side. So currently, what we're seeing with Euro, Euro is, let's just mark out our levels before we continue. So previously, Euro has been trading on this range and currently testing the resistance level. Another range that we could refer to is this one. So for me, if the two ranges have already been invalidated by breaking through it, above it, we could see a potential reversal for euro. And also, the moving averages are supporting this idea. And currently, if we're going to look at this, we have reacted from the previous fair value gap on this level. So, if this fair value gap is indeed a bullish signal for us, the next thing that we want to happen with euro is to break out of this level, this high at 108447. So if we break out of that level and potentially we might see a pullback with like a support, of course, on that level, because that is a previous resistance now turning support if it successfully breaks out of that level. So this is a 4-hour chart. So it will give you a lot of headroom to, of course, adjust your strategies accordingly. But what I usually do is, just for everyone's idea, what I usually do in approaching in the markets is I always wait for a range, a sideways range. So let's say, for example, I'm gonna draw a box here. I'd like to wait for a range, and I'd like to wait for the appropriate session that I'm trading. Like for example, I always look for trades or opportunities during the London session, and I look for, of course, breakouts of that range and potential pullbacks on the fair value gap levels. So I'd like to participate where there is a liquidity in the market. So I wait for pullbacks, and hopefully, if the fair value gap supports my idea, it would shoot up. So actually, you could um, check our site because we have a lot of educational tools or um, educational contents that you could refer to. So basically, what I do is I do SMC or smart money concepts, or other people are also calling it ICT. So doesn't matter. What matters is how you understand how liquidity works. So you could check this out. So these are the cycles that I'm checking out that I use to gauge the market. All right. So that's it for euro. And let's look at the pound. So currently, if we're gonna look at pound, actually the range already expanded. So the pound has not been doing so well. But what's good about this range is it's trying to hold firm at this level. So if the pound is trying to hold at this level, knowing that the dollar is on a weaker side, we might expect or not expect, we could anticipate a push for the pound on the upside. So the good thing again for this is it's holding its ground at that level, knowing that the dollar is experiencing hiccups or experiencing weakness. So we don't know what will happen in the coming days, but the NFP, the PMIs would play a big role to push the majors or the foreign currencies against the dollar. So right now, we're gonna revise our levels on pound. So let me just remove this drawings. We could actually expand the range since it's not going somewhere previously, and currently it's trying to test the equilibrium level or the 50% of the range. So if we're gonna look for a bullish scenario for pound, we'd like it to consolidate or range above the 50% or near the resistance level of this price range. So right now, the pound is probably still gaining, still pulling orders or liquidity. We don't know, but what we want to happen with the pound is for it to um, go to the upside of this range, and eventually, after gaining enough strength or maybe enough liquidity, it would push up to the upside, reaching out to the 1.30478 level. So that's it for the pound. So of course, if we're gonna look for a better trade between the euro and pound, let's look at euro pound and what's happening with this pair. So looking at the daily chart, you're also testing the support level of the euro pound. So we're currently at the 50% equilibrium level. So this is a good side in favor of the euro. And if the euro pound continues on an upside, the better trade between the euro and the pound is, of course, euro. Since euro is gaining traction over pound on this chart or on this pair. So let's see what will happen in the coming days. But before that, let's look at some fundamentals. What's gonna happen with euro and pound this week? So you could go to this FinLogic site and just hover your cursor at the tools and economic calendar, and it would show you the pairs or um, the major markets that will release not potential, that will release red folders for this week. So for me, don't dwell too much on the gray and yellow folders, because based on my observation, it doesn't give much kick or momentum in the market. So for me, just focus on the red folders this week. So of course, the momentum that could uh, create be created for the euro and pound is the USD. But let's look at the euro area and the pound. This week we only have the inflation rate. Actually, tomorrow. So if the inflation rate is lower than they expected or the previous, this would be a negative print for the euro. And probably if this negative print comes out and does not create traction for euro, we might see resistance or reaction on the 50% equilibrium level of the euro pound. So that's what we're seeing with euro pound. So let's go on the American side, the Americas. First is what's happening with USD CAD. So currently with USD CAD, we're not seeing any traction of USD over Canadian dollar. So if you're gonna look at this level and mark out, we have a fair value gap actually on this level. USD failed to break out of that area, of that level, and it is currently being tested as a resistance level. So another thing that makes me bearish with USD CAD in favor of the CAD is price has been ranging for a longer time already, since the beginning of March. It's not ranging above the 50% equilibrium level. So we are below the 50%. And probably the CAD is gaining traction because of its retaliatory stance. against the United States of what's happening in the in the tariffs. We don't know what will happen until the tariffs come into play tomorrow. So let's see what will happen in the tomorrow and in the coming days. And if we're gonna look at the potential forecasts for USD, it's not good. So since if the USD is not giving us a good print or a positive print, probably the Canadian dollar would benefit from this numbers. So scenario for the USD CAD is still I'm bearish in favor of CAD with like this resistance or with like the fair value gap to be respected and potentially break down from this level at the 142,351 level until we reach this level. So that's my scenario for CAD. And if it breaks down, we might get probably a small rebound on that level. And eventually, the USD CAD might slide for further downside. And with the Swissy, still nothing much interesting with the Swissy since we're still on a sideways. One thing that is interesting actually with the Swissy, it is being considered as a safe haven currency right now. That's why if we're gonna look at the chart, we're gonna look at the price. If indeed the dollar is gaining traction, we should see breakouts on that level. But right now, still, the USD Swiss or the Swissy is still going on a sideways motion below the moving averages, which is not looking good for the USD. Knowing that the USD, again, is not giving us a good forecast for this week. I forgot about yen, so let's look at yen. Currently, yen is it reacted from the 747.1 level, and I'm not seeing any much strength with yen since it's going on a frequent rebound to the upside. And at the same time, for me, if the yen is really weak or if the 747 level is being tested, if the 747 level is being tested, and yen is actually bearish, we'd like to see a follow through by breaking down on this level. So right now, what we could look at with the yen. So if you're gonna listen to my voice, I'm not so sure. But the next thing that we want to happen with the yen is to check these levels, this resistance, and the support. So we don't know, well, but let's see what will happen on that level. But currently, we're still testing this 50% of the range. Another thing to note with BOJ is they are dovish. So we're not seeing any signs of them. We're not seeing any rate hikes in the coming months probably because inflation is currently being tamed as of this moment. So if yen is not gaining traction, probably what we're seeing with the other pairs is the pound. It's also the same, just reverse. With the pound, the euro, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, CAD and Swiss. But if I'm gonna trade the yen, I'd probably choose euro and pound. So let's look at the US indices. So currently, US indices, since the markets are on experiencing spikes on their on its fear levels or the fear gauge. But we're gonna look at with or expect or anticipate with the indices. Since the market is on a risk of sentiment, we might see further downside with the Dow. So if we're gonna look at Dow, there's no signs of stopping from its downside move. And levels that it could potentially test for further downside is this fair value gap at the 42,139.50 level until 41,614.49 level. So this is our bearish fair value gap. And if we're indeed bearish with the Dow, and it might pull back on this level, we might see a strong push or an immediate reaction on that level. So that's it for Dow. Probably we might reach further downside on this level at the 4065 level. So let's proceed with Nasdaq. Currently, Nasdaq is on a downside momentum. So as you can see clearly that we're not seeing any signs of stopping with the Nasdaq. And currently, I'm still not seeing um, any opportunities for short as of this moment. But we could look at this fair value gap to refer to or a much downside move. This is the same is true with SPX. So it's still on a downside move and we're not seeing any momentum for it to reverse. So we also have a fair value gap here. So what you could do to approach the markets this week, what I suggest is you look for potential scenarios like since the US indices are creating impending downside momentum, we could look for breakdowns of ranges. Two scenarios actually that you could do for this week. So let's look for ranges. We could trade breakdowns since the fear levels are on a much higher levels compared to the previous. We could look for breakdowns on those ranges and probably we could see pullbacks. This is your second opportunity for shorts. This one. And we'd like price to just pull back below the 50% equilibrium of the previous range. So this level, if ever it comes back on that level, but if price eventually decides to break down, then reach until the 75% level of the previous range with like a sharp reaction on that level. So another thing to take note for this week is as much as possible, do not participate. I don't know. I'm not saying that you can do it, but for me, what I suggest is participate in a market that is already in an ongoing direction. So yeah, actually, that's it for our weekly forecast for this week, and probably for this week, you can expect another educational content for our ACY website. And you could also check out our channel. So let me just pull that up for you at the ACY Securities. So you can check out our website. I mean our YouTube site. You can look at our videos, and what I do on a weekly basis is post technical outlook that would be beneficial for your trading for this week. So that's it. And if you have um, what do you call this? If you'd like a more in-depth analysis, just check out our market analysis site or segment in our website. So that's it for me for today. So see you in the markets and have a good trading day this week.